Hi YouTube! Just a few weeks ago I made a video complaining about Nintendo's online services and all the things that I wanted to see change about them. And in that video I mentioned that we'd probably be getting all of our big news about this new online service at E3 of this year. About that. Nintendo actually decided to release all of that information in mid-May, so not during E3. Pretty much out of the blue it happened. There wasn't any big leak. Nintendo's just like, here you go, here's all the information. It's yours. Have fun. And unfortunately, it's really not what I was hoping to see in general. I don't know about other people, but I do want to take a little time to go through in depth what Nintendo's actually releasing here. And I think it might be good to talk about what's good and what's bad about the service and what we might expect to change over the next couple of years, if anything. Will Nintendo ever be good at online? It says, wowzer, Outlook good. So what I'm actually going over here is all information that Nintendo uploaded on an entirely new website to outline all of their new online service information. I'll put the link down below, so if you want to visit that website and peruse and digest that information on your own, have at it. But here are the important bits. 1. The service launches in September 2018, this year. It's been pushed back a few times. The last we knew it would be later in 2018, so September 2018 is not surprising at this point. It is interesting. I thought it would be a little bit later because one of the things I said was that the online service would probably launch with Smash. Does that mean that Smash is coming in September? I think it's possible, but I think it's actually more likely that Nintendo's getting out the online service a few months ahead of time before Smash, so that if there's any kinks, if there's any angry customers or whatever, get them out of the way before Smash comes out. 2, the pricing announced on the website is the exact same as it was the last time they mentioned it, so that's good. $20 a year, $8 for 3 months, or $4 for 1 month. It's less than half of what Xbox and PlayStation charge for their online services, so that's good. Nintendo did show a new family pricing model, which is $35. With this new family connection, you can connect up to 8 Nintendo accounts to count as a family, and then you only have to pay for 1 account to cover those 8 accounts. Yes. Yeah. So what you're paying for is per account, per Nintendo account. It's not per Switch console. The interesting thing about the family pricing is that Nintendo doesn't seem to have any kind of a safeguard in order to keep just 8 friends from getting together and making themselves a family. At $20 a year, it's kind of cheap enough to not want to do that. But at the same time, if you get 7 other friends together, it's like $4.50 a year, and that's really nice. So I guess we'll see if Nintendo ends up having any safeguards to prevent that from happening, but it seems like probably not. They're probably just gonna leave it. Ooh, there's hair on my hand. Ugh. Number 3, cloud saves. Cloud saves are a pretty basic feature that a lot of people have been asking for a long time. If you don't know what that is, basically it means that you'll be able to write your saved files onto the clouds, onto your Nintendo account as opposed to your hardware or your SD card or your game card. Stop buzzing. If you need to use a different Switch console, if yours breaks, if your SD card is corrupted, all of the above, you still have access to your save files, so that's always a good thing. But you don't get access to the cloud saves unless you're paying for Nintendo's new online service in September, so I hope you were ready to do that if you really wanted those cloud saves. And number 4, this is a big one. Nintendo talked a little bit more about the not free, they're included with the paid service, NES titles that are going to be available. This has kind of been hinted at before, but Nintendo is launching 20 NES titles alongside the online service in September. Those titles will entirely be accessible by anybody who is paying for the online service. Nintendo has also said that every single one of those games is going to have new online multiplayer features added, whether it's co-op or competitive or something past the controller style gameplay. Something is going to be added to every single game to make it have online multiplayer options. So that's pretty neat. But it's still a good news, bad news situation because alongside this announcement, Nintendo also announced that the Virtual Console is not coming to the Switch, or at least that there's no plans for it as of right now. But is it really sad? On the one hand, we're still getting these classic NES games, and they're coming for almost free of charge. The ones that we know of so far, Dr. Mario, Zelda, the Mario Brothers games, Donkey Kong, they're all the classic games, so we're still getting those. And we're getting them in more of a subscription-style service, where we're paying $20 a year, and we have access to play those whenever we want. I can completely get behind a subscription-style game service from Nintendo, no questions. I was not super ready to pay for the third time for the virtual console games that I have anyway. So all of that is awesome, and I kind of love it, but, it's a big but, a big old but. Big one. It's only NES games so far, and if you look at the website, the wording, the verbiage does not make it sound like Nintendo has any plans to bring anything other than NES titles to this system. And the NES has some fantastic games, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to play some good old NES games. Nintendo has said that they will be continually adding games, regularly adding games from the NES. But with looking at only the NES, we're missing like this massive chunk of amazing Nintendo library that we're just never, poof, gone. Not to mention, since this will be basically a Nintendo subscription service, there's literally no incentive, unless Nintendo strikes up a deal somewhere, for anybody other than Nintendo as a developer to put their own games onto this service. So if we're only looking at NES and we're only looking at Nintendo developed games, it's pretty much a maximum of somewhere between 40 and 50 games, 20 of which are going to be out at launch, and many of which are not fun, and hopefully Nintendo isn't porting. So if we consider that more than half of the games are out at launch and they're regularly uploading, I don't really know how this is sustainable for more than a year or so. So one can hope that they're opening this service up to other past systems at some point, but I don't know if that's the case. So to recap, September 2018, $20 a year, cloud saves, and NES titles with online multiplayer features. That's what was announced, that's what we're getting with Nintendo's online system. So I take issue with this. I think that Nintendo is still missing really obvious features that are really needed to enjoy multiplayer games in the most optimal way. Party creation, party chat, it doesn't have to be voice chat. They're all features that have been around for so long. Messaging was on the Wii and it was taken away. It wasn't great messaging, but it existed. Right now there's no features to actually be able to message your friends through the Switch, through games. Not only was it archaic, but the fact that we're now also paying for the online features and that kind of very simple thing still isn't included is kind of sad. It's not great. Nintendo is still promoting the Switch phone app for using voice chat features. It's been made fun of ad nauseum because it's so ridiculous to ask somebody to play video games on their video game system from Nintendo, but then use their phone to connect to the game to your friend so that you can chat with your friend on the phone through the game. If you don't want to promote voice chat for whatever reason, fine, but if you want people to use voice chat with the video game system, then it should be integrated into the video game system, and it's really ludicrous to have people use their cell phones when, if you were going to voice chat with somebody, you could just call them. $20 a year is still extremely affordable for an online service, so at the end of the day, I'm not super upset, but overall, I do think Nintendo's online features are severely lacking, especially for a paid online service. And I know that I'm not the only one, and I know that there are people who also disagree with me, but at the end of the day, I'm not happy with Nintendo and their online system. Not to mention, from a customer service standpoint, I think Nintendo waited way too long to implement this paid service. Having a couple free months, great, fine. But now there's millions upon millions of Switches in this world, and how many of those millions of Switch owners, or the parents, or the casual gamers, have no idea that the games that they've been playing for free for a year, in just a few months, they're going to have to pay money to play the same exact features that they've been playing all along. I don't think it's the paying that's an issue, I think it's the dropping it on people after they've had free access for so long. And even personally, I don't have an issue with that, but I'm just picturing from a customer service standpoint how many people are going to be so confused and upset when this actually drops. And I hope that Nintendo does a lot to roll this out to people to make sure that all Switch owners know it's coming before it happens, but I don't actually have a lot of faith that that's going to happen. So overall, yeah, I am a little bit bummed about Nintendo's online service, but it is what it is. I'm still going to pay for it. I'm still going to complain about it for the foreseeable future until I get my beautiful Mario Party with beautiful online features and I can chat with my friends and all of that good stuff. Again, Nintendo's new online service launches in September 2018, so you'll probably hear a lot more whining about it from me at that point. I am happy that they announced this before E3 so that I can get all of my complaints out about it now and it doesn't take up my time during that wonderful, wonderful week of announcements. So what do you think about Nintendo's online system? Is it If you enjoy my videos, or if you're already subscribed to me, make sure you go to my channel, and I guess there's a little bell thing you have to click to get notifications. Get your butts ready for E3. Love you. I think at the end of the day, I'm not ever going to complain about anything that helps Nintendo to progress, but I've been watching Nintendo's progression into online gameplay for the past more than a decade, and it's barely moved. It hasn't gone up. It's only gone like... It's not good. It's bad. Come on, Nintendo. You can make beautiful, squishy Metroids, but you can't do online.